Serging is complete, and I have trimmed all of my tails on the corners, and I have them folded so I can see what pieces are which. I have a front and a back, and a front and a back. The next step is stitching the inseam. With right sides together, pin raw edges, or in our case serge, because we've serged them, of the inseam of the fabrics together, matching notches on the inseam, and stitch at 5/8. Press the seam open and trim threads. So just like patchwork way back when, I'm going to lay my pattern pieces, pant pieces now, on the table with the masking tape facing the ceiling. I've got a front and a back, which is what we're supposed to have because we're doing the inseam. Now what you're going to do is close it like a book, just like we've been doing. Now the pieces are getting bigger, clearly. First thing it says is to match that inseam notch, which is right there. We've got triangle on top of triangle, and you're going to put a pin right through that area, right there. Then you are not going to force the corner to corner. That's not how we sew. You want to make sure that you pin at the notch first, and then every finger distance, just like we've done before, put your thumb on top of the pin, put another pin at the end of your thumb. You're just going to pin the fabrics up to the end. Where it's important that pattern pieces match up is at 5/8 in. So 5/8 from this line, from this serged edge, is where your pattern pieces should end, and they do. See how they don't match in the corner? That's okay. They don't need to match in the corner. They need to match here at 5/8, and I'm all set with mine. I'm going to continue pinning. This time I'm going the other way, so I can't put my I can't put my thumb on it. I mean, I guess I could try and put a pin there, but visually I can see that they're about a finger distance apart. As you progress with your skills, you start to sew more visually than actually measuring with some things, and this is one of them where your pins are going. When you get closer to the bottom, you're going to want to match up down here. And then kind of shake the pant leg out to make sure that your edges will match. Now remember, this is the inseam, so it doesn't matter if the stripes match. In fact, they pretty much won't, because the back of your leg is bigger than the front of your leg in most cases, so we don't try to match the stripes on an inseam very often. Couture clothing, sure they do. They do that, absolutely. But for this review project, in your first attempt at reading a commercial pattern, we don't need to fuss too much about it. Won't be the case on the outseam. We'll match those up because we took the time to match the notch at the yellow and blue intersecting yarns. Because we took that extra time, we can match the plaids going on the outside of the pant leg. If we did a nice job with everything on grain, as you can see, my stuff is just lining right up. I don't have to fuss too much getting that serged edge even. Now the instructions tell us to stitch this at 5/8. One moment, it's the first time I'm getting on the machine today, so I just noticed the cords are twisted. Now they're really twisted. Oops. Goodness. All right, now we're good. Okay, so I just turned my machine on. I think I just woke everybody up. That was a loud okay. When your machine turns on, it comes out of stitch length 2. Always make it a 3. It's just a more friendly stitch. 5/8 is right here. You're going to make sure that the serged edge this time, not raw edge anymore, is up against the 5/8. I'm using red thread so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to go forward 3 and back 3. And then you can, if you sew slow enough, stitch over the pins. If you're afraid to, or you just don't like stitching over the pins, you can do what I was doing there, is taking them out after each one. I'm just going to stitch over, but again, remember, if you're stitching over pins, you need to go slower than you're used to, because if the needle hits the pin, the machine will stop if you're going slow enough. If you're going too fast, it'll pop your needle into a couple of pieces, and that's unsafe. I could have switched my machines out so I didn't have the squeaky one again today, but it's okay. See how that one kind of turned on me, so I stopped, pulled it out anyway. And back stitch 3 and then run off the end and cut it on the side. Then what I like to do when you stitch over the pins, you can just do this, pull them out quickly, take your grab it, and pick them up. I think you guys know that about me. I'm a get-it-done sewer. I am not a take your time and, you know, fuss over it. I'm a get-it-done. The iron that I have plugged in is on the other side of the room, so forgive me for going for a little walk. Wake your iron up. Lay your flannel pants on the ironing board, and then finger press that seam open. Make sure when you feel it that it's nice and smooth underneath. It's a little different when we're sewing with bigger pieces. And then you'll bring your iron in, and remember, we're pressing, we're not ironing, we're pressing it open. If you wish to use a little steam, go ahead, and you should flip it over and do a final press on the outside. And there you go. I'm going to turn the camera off, do the same thing to the other side, and I'll join you back at the ironing board with both halves of the pants ready to put together.